BooTube! This is my, The Flash Season 3 Episode 1 titled Flashpoint Reaction Rant. I haven't said that in a while, right? But, this could be like part 2 or possibly part 1.5 depending on how long this video is. But, last I left off in the previous video was the fact that Barry pretty much found out Wally was Kid Flash, found out he was teamed up with his sister Iris, crime fighting, that they both have not had a good relationship with their dad. Dad has no idea about the crime fighting thing. Found out that Cisco was a billionaire inventor who bought Star Labs for his own whatever reason, and was the one that actually designed Kid Flash's suit. So at one point he did help them. And also they found out Caitlin was an eye doctor for kids when Barry kidnapped her and brought her to Cisco's, I was gonna say Star Labs, but I'm still gonna call it Star Labs because no matter what, it'll always be Star Labs. But, Barry also finds out that he's starting to lose his memories of the original timeline, and apparently it first started out with, I don't know who it started out with, but I know for a fact that Barry does lose his original timeline memories of Cisco, and I believe he also lost his original timeline memories of Iris. I'm not sure. But I know for a fact he lost his original memories of Cisco during his whole ordeal there. And he's starting to lose his memories of ever being the Flash. So he's starting to get weak and weaker. And we all know that the reason for that is because he's losing his memories of ever being the Flash. You know what I mean? Hang on for a sec. My bad, guys. I thought I heard something again. But anyway, they all decide to team up. Barry's like, hey, I'll help you take down the rival while you guys help me try to prevent my memories from disappearing, right? And, so we get the epic team up of Flash and Kid Flash teaming up against the rival, which I thought was pretty cool, right? And Wally ends up, taking the front and actually manages to knock out the rival, aka Edward. But unfortunately, he's all celebrating early. He turns around and he's like, yeah, Flash, look what I did and all that stuff. And frickin' the rival, Edward himself, uses a super speed and pretty much, grabs like a pole-looking thing and pretty much stabs poor Wally right near the chest. And it's like, oh! Oh! It's kind of like in between the chest and the gut, like right there in the middle. And he gets like a fatal wound. And, Barry's all beating him. Excuse me, I burped. Barry's all beating him up and everything. And, just as the rival's gonna, one-up Barry, aka the Flash, all of a sudden, boom! Edward gets shot by none other than Joe himself. I'm not gonna get into too much detail on what happened with Joe in the entire episode, but, hang on. I swear, I keep hearing things, and it, utterly disturbs me. But anyway, Barry reveals that Kid Flash is Wally, and so he and Joe send him back to the building. I'm still calling it Star Labs. I don't care if it's Cisco's building. But anyway, they take him back, and they notice that they took care of him and everything, but the problem is, he's not healing fast enough, and that causes some weird, questionable stuff, because everyone knows that speedsters, when they get injured, their super speed pretty much helps them speed really quickly, right? We've seen this with Barry, and we've seen this with Reverse Flash, we've seen this even with, shoot, what was his name? Gosh, I forgot his name already. We've seen it with speedsters, but for some oddball reason, Wally is still critically injured and is not healing fast enough like he should be, right? Barry realizes that because of the new timeline that he created, everything's fine and dandy with him, but everyone close to him is just like hell for him, right? So he realizes that he has no choice. He has to reset the timeline, and in order to do that, he has to release Eobard, go back in time with him, and let him kill his mother Nora to reset the timeline. And basically that's basically what happened, right? And he gets sent back to the present, and Barry learns that the timeline did get reset, but it did not reset exactly the way it was before he screwed up with it and turned it to Flashpoint. Because, when he got back, Joe and Wally were there. They were still drinking like they were before in Season 2. But remember, they were all in mourning of Barry's dad. It was Joe, Wally, Iris, Barry, and if I remember correctly, I'm not sure, but remind me again, was Caitlin and Cisco there at the end before Flashpoint? You know, with the West family and Barry? I would have sworn they were. But when Barry gets back inside, we just see Joe and Wally. There was a cute moment where Barry hugs Wally and saying, "I'm glad you're here," and everything. But where's Iris and where's Cisco and Caitlin if they were there? So I pretty much got that confirmation when, you know, they're drinking and Joe's like, "It's okay to mourn, Barry. You just lost your dad." And then in the middle of all that, all of a sudden, Barry asks Joe and Wally, "Hey, where's Iris?" Just casually, right? Because he thinks everything's been reset perfectly the way they were. And then all of a sudden, Joe's face just turns angry, hard, and like static, right? And he's like, "You know what? I'm going to pretend you didn't say that. I'm just going to say that you're in mourning of your dad, and that's the reason why you said it." And he just straight up leaves. And it's like, okay, what happened? What did Barry do? What happened with Iris, right? And Barry's all asking Wally, "What happened?" It's like, dude, you know, Joe and Iris haven't spoken in years. And it's like, oh, Barry. It's true, Barry, that you let Eobard kill your mother. You brought him back and let him kill your mother and reset the timeline, but because you created Flashpoint beforehand, you screwed something up, man, because now this new timeline, yes, it's been reset. His dad's still dead, his mother's still dead, he's still the Flash, but now Joe and Iris have not spoken in years? He pretty much ruined a West family relationship right there between father and daughter. Lord knows what else he ruined, because if I remember correctly, at the end of season 2, I believe Cisco and Caitlin were also there in the house, and I did not see them in this episode. So maybe he might have screwed up with both Cisco, Caitlin, and Iris. Considering, you know, before he went back to reset the timeline, he pretty much revealed he brought Cisco and Caitlin into this, even though they had nothing to do with it in the beginning of Flashpoint, right? So not only did he screw up the relationship between Joe and Iris, he could have screwed up even more. He could have screwed up something with Caitlin and Cisco, and we don't even know, right? Everything seems to be semi-okay with Wally, but obviously Joe's not right because he hasn't spoken to his daughter. Iris is not right. We don't know what happened to Cisco and Caitlin. So, yeah, Barry, you effed up. But anyway, with this new reset timeline, we see Edward Claris again, but this time this is Edward Claris not from Flashpoint, but the new reset timeline. And he's all in bed with his wife, but he's awoken by a mysterious voice telling him to awaken, and it's time and all that stuff, right? And then we hear a scratching noise. You know that scratching noise when, I'm not saying this from experience, but you know how like a sharp object's carving into like glass? That's pretty much what it sounds like. And Edward looks at the glass, and we see someone, like this mysterious force, carving the word alchemy into the mirror, which is obviously this mysterious voice is talking to him. And I actually looked that up, and alchemy, or at least in the comics, there is someone named Dr. Alchemy in the comics, and his real name in the comics is Albert Desmond or Alvin Desmond, and apparently he's a chemist who suffers from multiple personality disorder. So we all know that Edward Claris was a speedster named the Rival in Flashpoint, and even in the comics, which is technically true. He was a Golden Age rival speedster, right? But apparently in this new reset timeline, he could now be Dr. Alchemy, the chemist with multiple personality disorder, which kind of makes sense considering he's hearing voices. You know what I mean? But anyway, that is my reaction rant to The Flash Season 3, Episode 1, titled Flashpoint. It wasn't as exciting as it was supposedly hyped, but I'm looking forward to it because I've seen the titles to episodes 2 through 7. I saw the titles to episode 2, 3, 4, 5, and 7. I have yet to see the title to episode 6. I think they're hiding it on purpose. But episode 2 is titled Paradox. Episode 3 is Magenta. Episode 4 is titled The New Rogues. And